All right, welcome everybody. As you come on, we'll give a few minutes and I'm going to turn this over to Nimesh and get you started. Last day of March. It's the last day of the first quarter. Can you believe it? First quarter is in the books. We're on to the second quarter, making the best of it as we move forward. We got a great panel Nimesh has put together. Stop whining and start winning, right? It's not going to serve us well to do any whining in this market. Is it tough out there? Yeah, that would be an understatement, right? It takes more skill, talent to drive forward in the market today. And yet there's an opportunity in any market. And I think Nimesh will jump into this and really get us started and getting moving. So we got a great panel as well, packed full meeting. But Nimesh, take it away. It's all yours.
Appreciate it, bud. Every third Wednesday is the best team meeting, right, that we have at KW Southwest. Sorry, Verna. Yeah, I see that you're on the call, but yeah, got to throw you out. I appreciate you joining us, Verna. So I didn't have to use the line where the girls got all the limelight 2 weeks ago. So we were going to have all the guys on this week. Again, I did title it "Stop Whining and Start Winning." That was a little bit in jest, just due to the current times, right? I know a lot of people are frustrated with the current market. And so we definitely want to focus on, well, how can we excel from a buyer's perspective in this crazy market, right? So a bold law comes to mind. It's a simple law, yet really effective, right? Focus on the plan, not the problem, right? So well, how are we going to focus on the plan? So let's make a plan. Right. So that's what we're going to help you with today. And we have two awesome gentlemen that are going to give us two slightly different perspectives, but they're awesome at what they do. Right. So we have Robbie Yansky, one of our top individual agents every year. Year to date, he's been killing it even on the buy side this year. OK. And we also have from the Audra O'Neill team, the awesome rock star, Pranesh Jayprakash, who we affectionately at KW refer to as PJ, right? So let's get rolling so you guys get as much information packed in here as we can. All right. So Robbie, let's start with you, buddy. A little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to everybody, just in case they don't know you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robbie Yansky. I've been at KW almost 7 years now, and rolling into land, farm, and ranch transactions more so than residential, although I still do quite a bit of residential as well and compete in this wonderful market that we have. And so looking forward to sharing some knowledge with you guys, and hit us up with any questions that you have.
Yeah, until 2021, I would jokingly call Robbie the king of Podunk, Texas, but he's definitely segueing into a lot of different areas of expertise. That's pretty awesome. Thanks for joining us, Rob.
Thank you.
All right, PJ, let's take it away, bud.
So my name's PJ. I'm with the Audra O'Neill team. As Nimesh said, I'm a buyer's agent for her, and I deal with a lot of her own buyers as well as mine. I've been doing this for 3 years, joined in 2018. So this February was my third year. We do a lot in Greatwood, mainly. That's our main focus, but we started going into the Loop and Sienna and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. All right, so let's dive straight into it. All right. So what I want to focus on before is just your guys' take, right? Your interpretation on the market right now from a buyer's perspective. Okay. Like how are you interpreting it? Go ahead, PJ. You can keep going.
On a buyer's perspective, it's really right now, it's just who has the most money, which I know is crazy to say, but we have one with VA. We just recently won one with VA and FHA. But right now it's who looks best on paper and how it's presented. So that's really how it is on the buy side, is who's got the most money and who's willing to give up the most for a house right now. So.
All right. And that's awesome to hear, because what I'm hearing there is that you've even been able to convert VA loans and FHA loans that we automatically assume are at a disadvantage, right? In which they are at a disadvantage a little bit, right? Yet it's not impossible. Right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I agree. I had one in the pipeline that I've had for a few years that I was able to close, and it was an FHA as well. Awesome. Yeah, Robbie, what you got for me on what you're seeing in the market right now, or how you're seeing it, how are you interpreting it?
Honestly, even though it's a tough market for buyers right now, it's one of the best times for buyers to jump in and look at how low interest rates are. And if you're not jumping in and buying now, you're behind the curve, because as values appreciate and accelerate in the future, you want to be in the house already. You don't want to still be looking for the house. And so hopefully you're off the fence and jumping into a house and in a transaction and buying something now.
Right. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
next best time was honestly yesterday or 5 years ago, but the greatest time is right now.
Yeah, I saw that meme recently. I just absolutely love it, right? It was like some cartoon that said, if you guys would like to see something a little more expensive than this, I'll just show you this house tomorrow, right? And that's kind of how we
Right.
feel in this market. So tell me, just take a quick second to explain to me the best way you would explain that to let's say a potential client or a client, right? They explain hey, it is crazy out there right now, or yet this could be the best time to buy still, right? With the interest rate and whatnot. Like you definitely get some pushback there sometimes, right? So how do you handle that?
Who are you asking, Nimesh?
You continue.
Okay.
You brought it.
Well, here's a perfect example. I'm meeting with some buyer clients for a consultation this evening, and these folks are ready to, for lack of better terms, get their life started. You know, they're living in apartments right now, and they want to grab something that's going to appreciate in the future and kind of get their life started and move into a place that they can call home. And so there is no better time than right now. And so how are we advising our clients? Well, you know, take advantage of the great incentives that are out there for loan programs right now, for interest rates, for agents like ourselves and PJ that are willing to work hard for our clients and get them the house that they want. There is no better time than now. So there's no reason to be fearful. Just jump out there and get started, because if not now, then when, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's a key, right? It is taking a lot more, I don't want to say effort, because we're supposed to be giving our 100% every time, right? Yet it is having us as buyers representatives to go above and beyond, be always on top of it, right? To get our clients the house right now, right? You got to be right on it. You know, the houses that are coming on the market, when they come on the market, you got to be on it for your clients, right? PJ, some of the other challenges that you might be seeing in the market right now.
It's just really, I mean, obviously comps right now, but you know, honestly, we've gotten these buyers that don't ask for comps anymore. Last year, I was running comps like crazy during the peak of COVID and things like that. But right now, nobody's asking for comps, and they're just straight up going, "How much do we need to offer to get this house?" And then you know, you deal with the appraisal, and then having the conversation about appraisal waiver and what we need to do if it doesn't appraise, how we can make sure it does appraise if it's a client that doesn't have as much money. But right now, I mean, I don't think I've written an offer at list price yet, within probably this last month and a half or so. So it's having that conversation about appraisal and running comps. And I mean, we just had to have this conversation with this client. We were straight up said, "You're overpaying for this house, and for you to get your money back, you're probably gonna have to be here for about 15, 20 years. Do you understand that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm ready to move forward." And you know, that might not be something everyone can have a conversation about, but you've got to be upfront, because if they come back and sell in 7 years and they're going to come back and tell you, "Hey, you told me to put in that offer." So that's a conversation that we've been having a lot.
Yeah. I want to stay right there for just a second, because that was part of this it's really important for us to educate our client, right? In the current market, exactly telling them the plan, right? Hey, we're going to have to map this out depending on the direction this transaction goes in, right? And if we're willing to pay a certain price, right, then there's going to be these certain ramifications that we're possibly going to have to deal with, right? Yet if we at least set that up in advance, prepare and educate our client for that, at least we're prepared for that moment when it arises, right? The decision has basically already been made, at least most of it, right? A big one is what you were referring to as the appraisal. Right? If we're going to go over the ask price, well, we're probably going to have to deal with appraisal. So let's have that conversation now, right? Are we willing to come up with the difference if the lender allows it? Right? Or, you know, if it doesn't appraise, what's our course of action? How badly do you want, that's the one that I, like asking, how badly do you want this house? Right? And then, I mean, you brought up a good point about talking about, well, how are you going to, how long is it going to take to start building some real equity into this house? And it could be 10 years from now. Right? Awesome. Okay. So tell me something. PJ, what are you specifically doing, right, that helps you get the deals? Some ideas of what you're specifically doing that can help some of our agents that are trying to think of some strategic ways to possibly get a deal done.
I mean, if I see a house that hits the market, like right now I'm looking at one in Katy, that fits everything that my client needs. I haven't called my client yet about the house. I've already called the listing agent to talk to them. Does your seller need a lease back? And I mean, I'm asking every single question possible. And I really want to take this on the listing side. These last two houses we've listed in Greatwood, one had 10 offers and one had 17, right? So how on the listing side, I want to kind of give you, what does the listing agent think when they have 17 offers or 10 offers? Well, I mean, people don't even ask questions. Half of those offers didn't even ask if our seller needed a lease back, and which we did. So we just knocked out half of them. And then the other half, they're not even reading what the contract says. Like we have the exclusion sheet. They don't attach it to the contract. We have everything listed out, and people just write the offer, don't even ask for the title company, and just send it to us. And we do, obviously Audra does things very differently, but when you send the offer, think about it as a letter to the seller, right? Don't just put, here's my offer. Because I wrote 2 offers, and the listing agent just forwarded it to the seller, and they didn't even take me off the email. And so, but I wrote this really awesome email. Hey, my clients really love your house. And I put on there, hey, this is the sales price. This is what we're willing to do for you. And everything's listed out instead of just, here's my offer. Because if it's a lazy agent, they're not going to go through that offer and tell them why this is a good offer. Let me go ahead and do that, because I know about 90% of the agents that I send an offer to just hit that forward button to the seller. So my email to the offer in the beginning is a letter to the seller. It's not even to the listing agent. It's to the seller. And I feel like, and then they'll respond back going, oh, this is great, blah, blah, blah. And then another thing I've really started to do is I look at the property archive and see how the house has been used. If I see that it's been rented out a lot, I know it's an investor. What's important to an investor? Money. But if I see it's a family that's been there for 15, 20 years, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they probably had family in there for some time. So my letter is going to be all about, I have this amazing clients with 3 kids who are ready to make a bunch of memories in this home. And I'm touching to that emotional side of the seller, because they're probably just selling because they have to, especially if they've made memories in there for 15 years. So
I hope y'all are listening to that. That's some very powerful strategies.
Yeah,
right there.
You're setting yourself apart from the beginning.
Mhm.
One, you're being very proactive, getting out there, putting your client's name in front of them and asking the questions. And so there's some great nuggets in all of that information that you just shared. Thanks, PJ.
Yeah, PJ, that was awesome. Asking the right questions. See, that's the beginning of it. Asking the right questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's
Robbie,
like you're driving. It's like when you drive, right? You're not only driving for yourself, but you're driving for the people around you as well. And that's exactly what you did to set yourself up to be in a different lane than everybody else, is you drove for the entire region. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And again, right, like I know it sounds like we're repeating ourselves and it's like a known fact, but we definitely wonder what's going to set us apart from the other 14, right? Or 16, what's going to set us apart? Like PJ said, half the agents, they're not doing what you are setting out to do, right? For lack of better terms, they're being lazy, right? They're not doing their due diligence. They're not going above and beyond. And I guarantee you, if you do the things that we're talking about doing here, going above and beyond for your client, being strategic, your offers will stand out. Your production will start going up from the buyer's perspective. Okay, even in this crazy market. PJ, one last question for you in this segment before I shift over to Robbie. You were talking about how you're not looking at even the comps, et cetera. I agree with you. It's kind of crazy. Look, it feels like, all right, you're set on the sales price and you're either working with the sales price or going above the sales price, right? Comps are out the window until it comes to appraisal time and you're just dealing with it then. Let me ask you this. When would you personally think of the line would be where you toe between the listing price or going above the listing price and maybe seeing a house that's been sitting on the market a few days, which in this market is a lot, is eternity,
It's a long time.
right?
Yes, sir.
So let's say it's been on the market for 5 days or a week. When would you, what's that time frame you personally think that you should start maybe weaning away from that asking price or going above asking and going back to a more traditional offer method?
When it's not, if it's still on the market after the first couple of days, my first thing is what's wrong with it. And that's crazy to say. If it's, still there after 3-4 days, obviously I look at the agent remarks and it'll say highest and best by Monday. Oh, okay, they haven't accepted an offer yet. But if it's on the market for a long time, which is 5 days, I go ahead and see what's wrong with it. Has it flooded? I start running comps and okay, it needs so much work and it's still listed well above market average. And things like that. So if it's sitting on the market for some time, which I guess is right now 5 or more days, then I am running comps, and then I'm having a conversation with my buyer and saying, hey, the next highest household sold at 140 square foot. This house is at 160. And then that's when I start having a conversation like I think we can go lower. They haven't received any other offers. So
yeah, awesome, good stuff, PJ. Good stuff. All right, Robbie. What do you got for me about some of the things that you're doing, right, to get across that finish line, different from others, or just going above and beyond Robbie style?
PJ nailed it exactly. He hit on several very good points. And so I'll reiterate what he said. Do your homework well on the listing and on the listing agent and on their style. Cater to their style. If they're busy like Audra's team is, they're gonna automatically, like he said, chop out the offers that don't make sense for their sellers or don't fit the bill in whatever way that is. And so you got to do your homework and do your research, because to put your best foot forward in this market, you're selling yourself, you're selling your client, and you're also selling the listing agent to be able to present your offer in the best light. And so that was a great point that he made there. Also going back into the history of the property and catering your offer to the type of sellers that own the property is another great point. It really all comes down to being able to get your offer presented in the best light in a timely manner, know what you're doing, and present yourself professionally. Reach out to the listing agent, text, email, phone, whatever they prefer, have conversations with them as early on as possible. And the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so you got to keep pushing for your clients and find ways to make sure that you're in the forefront when your offer goes out. And like he also said, make sure that you have your conversations early on with your clients, setting the expectations about what you're going to have to pay, what you're looking at as far as future appreciation and values. And, keep in mind that we're not necessarily financial advisors for our buyers. And yet we have to be able to have experienced conversations with them saying, hey, look, guys, you need to have some money set aside in case you need to go over appraisal. You need to have your money set aside for your down payments. But at the end of the day, don't look at it as overpaying for the property. Look at it as an investment, because as your situation changes in the future and you may want to move on to somewhere else, you can turn this into an investment property. You should be in that financial position by that time, 5 years down the road, to be able to have that as a rental property and have your own, homestead property itself. So you're kind of securing your client's position in that way too. We're having these conversations with our clients to make sure that they understand that this is not a one-time decision. This is an entire process when you buy, to look at all of your options for exiting the property as well, or holding on to it. So in a roundabout way, it's kind of like we need to speak from experience and explain to them, make sure they understand what's going on in this market, what we're up against, what their options are for the property and for the offers, and what they can do with that.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing both of you are really saying is it's like we're beating a dead drum, but it's the same thing, or dead horse, I think it is, which I don't know if I should really say at the team meeting, but is educate, right? Especially in this market, educate your buyers, educate your clients, be prepared, right? be prepared for what could, what the transaction could unfold. Yeah. Chad, come on, man. Any nuggets? I need some philosophy thrown in here.
It's not philosophy, right? So the one thing I want you guys to pick up is the way that Robbie and PJ are thinking, right? Because, I know this is a theme, because how you think about this matters. And they said, first off, think about it in a listing agent perspective. PJ's on a big team and Audra is going to say, don't bring your crap. We ain't got time for it. She'd probably say it like that. Bring me something that I can prevent to the seller that's going to cause you to win. So it's the way that they think, right? Robbie and them are just sharing along the way. And we got to bring our client away and go, here's the reality of the situation that we're in. I don't control the market. I'm only here to interpret. And if we want to win in today's market, this is what we're going to have to do. Don't get wrapped up in so much of, hey, do this or do that, right? But think about it in a way and bring your buyers along and going, hey, this is how we're going to have to compete. I'm going to get a hold of the listing agent before we even see the property. One is I want to make sure it's still there. I don't want to waste your time. And two is I'm going to ask as many questions as we can. As a buyer's agent, ask away on your questions with the listing agent. Most of them will share too much. As a listing agent, you have a fiduciary, your client, don't share anything. Sometimes you can ask a listing agent, what will it take me to win this offer in price? Remember, buyer's agent, we can ask all day long. So ask away and get on there. And I heard this, and I can remember back in a time when I was in a multiple offer agent, Robbie has this, is we chose you, this offer, not because it was the best, because we knew if we were working with you, we would get a result. So be the best co-op agent ever.
I can't stress that enough, Chad. You're exactly right about that. It's a lot of it's how you treat the other agent. Just be absolutely as respectful as possible, and keep in mind their end goal is the same as your end goal. So you need to sit down and start with the end in mind, picture that out and how to form that, and then shape that in your communication with them, and it will do wonders for you.
Yeah. Share that. Just summarize that little story. I know we talked about it yesterday, and I did, and Chad just alluded to it. Just share that story a little bit, because I think it'd give a lot of inspiration to people watching.
Okay, so recently my clients and I beat out other multiple offers simply because of the way I approached the listing agent, with absolute respect and being friendly and courteous, and just absolutely just make sure that you, again, put your best foot forward, let your good character shine through. And so we won out in a multiple offer situation just simply because, I presented myself in a way that the listing agent wanted to work with me, and they were confident in me and my clients getting the transaction done for their clients, which was the end goal. Of course, they represent their clients and they want to see everything wrapped up nice and neat in a great transaction. Well, when you can convey that to the listing agent and give them absolute confidence in your abilities and your clients, they want to work with you. So give them a reason to want to work with you, exactly like PJ said, make sure that you're on point, and the listing agent wants to work with you for whatever reason that is. And so that's how you win, going above and beyond for your clients in these kinds of situations. It's not always about the sales price. We weren't even the top sales price, but the way I presented myself and the offer is what won out.
Yeah. So you just alluded to that. All right. So you weren't even the highest offer, right? It's just your worth ethic that showed through that, hey, this is the one that's going to get done. It's the most stable offer, right? It may not be the highest, right? But it's definitely the most stable. And second, and I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but was this financed?
Yes.
Yeah. And it was financed. Yeah. So it wasn't even a cash offer.
Yeah. I'm one of the easiest agents to work with. I try to be as accommodating as possible, but still negotiate for my clients. And so the other agents everybody wants to press that easy button, man. Stuff is stressful enough. So make it as easy as possible on everybody, and your stuff gets done.
Right.
Meaning, if you show up with an offer that's incomplete, I hope you heard that from PJ and Robbie really clear. not only, and when Andy taught this class on how to win offers, it's just not, here's your contract.
Right.
And it is an explanation of the contract. Everything is complete. You tell the complete story. I can't emphasize that enough, because I think, once again, we go back to the way they think of a listing agent is doing it. And quite frankly, some listing agents are lazy, right? And so all they're going to do, as PJ said, they just forward it right on. Okay, well, think, well, how do we want to present this in a way that we know that we can stick out and win?
Daniel L.
1000%,
asked,
yes.
Daniel L's asked, Robbie, how do you know you weren't the highest offer?
The listing agent told me.
Yeah, like
The listing agent
sometimes
told
they
me, look, I recognize your professionalism and I want to work with you.
Well, you got to look at it, because PJ hit onto this. PJ can elaborate more. Getting the listing agent and asking them what's most important. It could be a lease back, right? It could be the timing of when they need to close, right? Money is important. It is not the only factor. There are other things that are really that we can get creative. What we've seen on the listing perspective is we've seen people throw out offers, lock in the property, and they were just doing it because the option fee was low. They had no risk, and listing agents don't want to get in there. And all of a sudden you have to resell the property.
Right.
Yeah. And what happens if that happens like 2 times in a row for no reason? Now, all of a sudden there's a stigma on the property, right?
Well,
For
yeah.
no reason, right? So,
Or they really don't want to pay that price. So they go through the process and then they go back and say, oh, instead of repairs, would you take it for this much?
yeah,
Oh,
that's,
all you really wanted to pay in the first place.
yes,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And
It's
that's
tough.
kinda
That I
shady, but-
emphasize it's, and PJ and Robbie, you can argue it's tough out there to win, and yet you can.
Yeah,
This
that's
is-
the whole
this-
point of this conversation, right? Yes, it's tough. It's possible, right? You can still succeed out there. And we've already started segue into this. So we can kind of go further down into it. Let's just banter between the 5 of us. I know that we've been, philosophical, for lack of better terms. I know Chad doesn't like me to say that, but we've been giving some of these strategies, but I know our viewers are still going to want to know, a lot of them, especially the newer ones, are, well, what are some of these physical strategies on the contract itself or on the offer itself that we could possibly utilize, right? That makes it strategic or make us look better than maybe the next offer, right? So PJ, you've been silent for a little bit. So like, you want to give some pointers on some aspects we can focus on?
If I'm a newer agent, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to go through a full-on contract, and I'm going to highlight everything that's numbers related and what affects commission and what is direct savings to the seller, right? So yeah, let's just say a house is listed at 400,000 and you go in at 405, or I pay 400,000 and I pay title policy, which is probably $3,200, right? That $3,200 would be direct savings to the seller. And when you show that offer to the listing agent, that's something I put in the email. Yeah, this is $3,200 they're going to save directly, or I could go up to 405, but you're going to pay your commissions and all of that, all based off of that. So if I'm a newer agent, I'm going to highlight sales price, title policy, HOA fees, home warranties. I'm highlighting all of that, and I'm making a notebook and saying, all right, this could say is direct money savings to the seller, and this is just looks better, right?
Yeah.
And then another thing I've realized a lot of agents don't do is they do not look at what HOA fees are in a community. Because man, if you're writing offers in Sienna and you're offering 10,000 above list, but you're having the seller pay all HOA fees, you just wiped away everything. So you've got to do your due diligence on HOA fees and transfer fees and all of that, because if you're asking for the seller to pay, you could just be wiping out your whole offer. And that's, again, homework, right? Just seeing the community you're sending in that offer for and just doing more homework.
Absolutely. We were, referring to the HOA part, just make sure we're specific on the, like Sienna, any Johnson development has foundation fees, which can be pretty hefty, right? So if you focus on that and give it on the keep it on the seller side, then that's definitely a win-win there. Couple of things I wanted to highlight to go elaborate on a little bit on what you're talking about, the title policy, right? It also kills 2 birds. One, that there's less of a burden on the appraisal, right? Because it's technically not the sales price. So your net may be the same, yet you're not affecting the sales price, which then helps your appraisal, right? So that's definitely a great strategy. Second thing is you definitely want to highlight to the listing agent that this is what you're doing, because we keep saying the same thing over and over again. Listing agents are lazy sometimes, and they may not even realize that, oh, we took the seller's title policy. Again, they might have just forwarded the offer, right? So we can be strategic in definitely making sure you highlight or bullet point the benefits of your offer in your body of your email, right? So that's definitely something you want to focus on. Robbie, give me something, bud. Give me a couple of things, strategies to win the house.
Well, it all depends on how much your clients trust you. And I would set up that trust from day one. So if they really want the house, have earnest money go hard on day one. If they trust you unequivocally and you know what you're doing and you know what you're looking at and you can speak from experience, when you walk through and you show the house, kind of have an inspector's eye to make sure there's nothing really going on with the house, and wipe out that option period. Say, hey, look, guys, typically we include an option period for you guys in the contract, but I'm confident the house is doesn't really have that much issues. Are you willing to take this risk and lose a little bit of earnest money in the event something does crop up and you want to walk away? Or do you really want this house and you're willing to take it on and beat all the other offers out? You got to invest a little bit in yourself as a professional to know what you're looking at when you walk through these houses, to be able to tell if there's any issues that may crop up or arise from the inspection. And so, I mean, it all comes down to how much knowledge do you have as a professional about a house, about a seller, about a client? How much do your buyer clients trust you in your advising them and the market and the houses and things like that? So that, and I've also seen the quote unquote love letter work a lot, where your clients will write out a nice letter with a little family picture, send it. Some people say, yeah, you shouldn't really do that, or it's not quite right, but I've seen it work multiple times. And emotions drive decisions, especially for sellers that are families and your clients that have been in that situation before.
I think that's both of y'all's strategy, right? Is taking the whole, I think it's a bold law, emotions make you think, right? And emotions make you act. And so you're playing on both, not only the emotions of the listing agent, but also the emotions of of the seller. So I think that's a great
The
strategy.
bold laws, logic makes you think, emotion makes you act.
So I had the
Go on,
emotions
Greg.
make you act, right? I was there.
Yeah, right.
But they are using the logic, right? As they're
Heck yeah.
structuring out the email, it's showing the logic of why you created this benefit for this agent, and then the benefit for the seller themselves.
Well,
And
this is how people are showing up in today's world. They're very emotional.
yeah,
And we got to
Very.
get them to logic, right? And that's where you're adding, and then we get them back to emotion. But they're already showing up emotional. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. Last
Yeah.
week, I can't tell you how many complaints I got. That was a good time. I'm like, oh my gosh. I
You
gotta
might
get
even have
out
some
of
more on your desk already for this week.
Probably there's emotion that's running into it. We got to get them to logical, and then we can get them back to emotional, where they want to go, what they need to, how this is still a win for them.
Yeah, for sure. Robbie, you did say, I do want to focus on one quick thing to help people out. You talked about how you can have, hefty earnest money, right? And that's definitely key. If your clients, I think it comes down to, again, asking your clients, how badly do you want this house? You go hefty earnest money, and like Robbie said, you're confident that we're going to get this house. Again, that's gravy, because that's just getting rolled into your payment anyway. So you're, at the end of the day, you're getting that money back as long as you close, right? You did refer to skipping out on the option fee, which is an option, right? Or you can just go heavier also on the option, right? To look stronger. You're confident that, hey, yet you still have that bit of a, escape clause in there, yet you're going heavy, $1,000 option, $1,500 option, something, depending how serious you are, right? And again, everything works out, and that's not, you're not losing that, right? It gets just incorporated into the sale. So it's a win-win at the end of the day. You've put money on the line, yet it's rolled back in.
Of course, even better if you can have a trusted contractor or if your client has somebody that they know that they really like, walk through the showing in the house with you. That way you can forgo the option or cut down on the option days and have more confidence in the sale. But ultimately, you need to really understand your buyer situation, what they're looking for, and kind of make sure that this house is gonna fit the bill for them now and slightly out into the future. You need to project what that's going to look like for them in the future so that you're confident that it's the right place for them if you're going all in like that. You know, you got to invest in yourself as a professional to know what you're looking at, really know your clients, be able to read them and be able to kind of, you know, understand where they're going with that and what the future looks like for them if they were to live there and get that house, just to secure that that's what's actually good for them.
Yeah. Some good stuff, guys. This has been really awesome. PJ, closing statement, buddy. How would you want to summarize, you know, and give some last piece of advice to everybody out there that's looking to make an impact in this market?
Don't, now's not the time to be lazy. If you're on a team and you're a buyer's agent, now is really the time to really milk the market. Just from personal experience, I know buyers agents are tired. I mean, I was at an open house and I was talking to somebody else, and this lady came up behind me and goes, "I want you to help me find a house." She had a buyer's rep with another agent, and she goes, "This agent's just been sending me to open houses and we've been losing 1 million offers." So agents are getting tired, and she called that agent right in front of me and terminated her buyer's rep and wanted to sign with me instead. So that just tells you guys that, like, people are getting tired. Now is not the time to be lazy. The more homework you do on every offer you write, the less showings you have, less offers you have to write. It doesn't take a lot to pick up the phone and call an agent, or if they don't, then text. If they don't respond to your text, email them. If they're a big team, somebody's going to respond. But the more homework you do, I know everyone says, "Hey, highest and best by 5 p.m." That first offer really should be your highest and best if you're doing it right. So yeah.
Appreciate it, PJ, man.
Good
You've been
stuff.
tremendous. Absolutely, man. Rock star. Robbie, what you got for us, buddy? Last piece of gems.
Once again, PJ nailed it. That first offer better be your highest and best. And if it says in by 5 p.m., make sure it's in by 4:30 p.m. And the other point that I was going to make is in this market and in every market, we got to be investing in ourselves as professionals. And one of the simplest things that you can honestly do is just listen very carefully to your clients and to the other professionals that you're working with. Try to interpret and understand how to read between the lines to figure out what they're saying to you, but not in so many words. Because when you pick up on those clues and those details and you know how to read into those situations, you're better able to position yourself every time. PJ just talked about somebody that canceled their representation agreement and went with him. You know, that person saw something in PJ and was reading between the lines, able to understand that PJ was going to be able to better help them than anybody else was. You have to be that kind of character, and you have to project and portray that out to everyone else. And at the same time, you yourself have to just, I can't reiterate enough, listen and pay attention to the details and really dig in to be able to help your clients, because there's so much that goes unsaid that is between the lines that will make or break a deal and is the difference between your clients getting, you know, the contract accepted and not. It works both ways across the board. Everything you can pick up on, hold on to it and just try to, I always try to sharpen my edge and just try to always remind myself to pay attention to the details, listen carefully, because listening is one of the hardest things to do, yet one of the most important. So I just can't reiterate that enough.
Appreciate it, buddy. Some great stuff. The next time you're on team meeting, though, we definitely gift you with like a ring light or something like that, so we can actually see what Robbie Yansky looks like.
You know where I'm at. Bring it to me.
Yeah. Although that's kind of scary. Oh yeah, Chad's got one. See, this is why we got to look at
I
Chad.
don't turn it on though. I don't, you know.
All right. Hey, leadership. Any last bit?
Yeah, you know I do, right?
Always.
Here's three tactics from the Shift book. Make no mistake about it, we're in a shift market. It's not what we think of and why the book was written. We're in a lack of inventory. This market's not going away anytime soon, right? If you think, oh, by the end of the summer it's going away, I just don't believe that. I can't predict it, but I am an economist and I study it and I listen to others. We're going to feel this for a while. So buckle up. As PJ said, if you don't put in the work, you're going to get eaten alive. So buckle up. We're in for a ride. And that's the first tactic, right? Get real, get right. It's in your head first. The next one is go find the motivated buyers. And of course, we can find the seller. I mean, that's even better as well. Get to the table, whatever it takes. If you're not aware of a contract, Texas is the one state, right? I don't know how many, that has an option period. An option period is an unrestricted right to terminate for anything. So people will lock up properties just because they can at a slow thing. So use that to advantage when you need to on the buy side. Our ultimate goal is to get this thing closed. That's all the listing agent want. How many times do we hear that as well? And that is bulletproofing your transactions. Get with these lenders, have a good, solid relationship with lenders that you know when they say, we can do the deal, you know the deal can get done. And these guys, I found my own on whatever, abc.com mortgage, and they think they can do it. That we don't have time for that, nor do the listing agents.
Right. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
simple. Mine is just this. I mean, we're in a race, and the time to prepare for the race is not when you're about to run it. So understanding the market and understanding your clients, taking the time right now before you're even, before the gun is even shot, right? Before you're about to put in an offer, to find out as much information as you can. So when it's time, you can go in and run that race right. Thank you, guys. Very powerful gems. I appreciate this, even though I am the—
I bet both of you can do like a crawfish boiler, right? Can't you? Robbie, you could do it, but maybe we add that in the offer, like
Yeah.
Right, like
before you
that.
leave, we'll do a crawfish boil.
It's like some of the funny stuff you said last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just have some of that stuff in there. Yeah. Wash your car, or I don't know, name our firstborn after you. And
Yeah.
Awesome, guys.
Bingo.
Hey, appreciate it. Stay tuned for some more nuggets. We actually probably have a little bit more, especially from the lender's perspective, in a few minutes. Okay. So just stay tuned. All right. But I want to bring on a great partner of ours here for a few minutes. Okay. To talk about some stuff that we have that you agents can take advantage of when it comes to marketing. Okay. And I'll let him take it away. The one and only Scott Leroy. Appreciate you joining us today, Scott. Hey, fill us back in on some of the good stuff we can utilize you for.
I was about to say, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being on here. So awesome. So we're basically here working as, I always say, kind of your virtual tech concierge, virtual tech coordinator at the end of the day, to really make everything that much simpler for you. So I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm going to screen share a couple things real quick just to kind of help out on here. Awesome. All right. So I always like to say, so this is the ScottLeroyMarketing.com website. And the best part about this is all these items that I'm going to show you are completely complimentary for y'all to utilize. So I'll put a couple of the items inside our chat section on here too, just to make everything stand out a little bit easier for you. But on our site, the main place to really focus on is really under this KW resources section. I'm going to sign in real quick, actually. So once you sign in with your Market Center number, so I'll sign in with 25 on here. That'll give you access to everything possible on our website. So once you sign in, that'll be perfect. And then you'll be able to access all the different KW resources on here. Perfect. So once I actually look at this, we'll have a good amount of items. And once again, all these items are complimentary for you. So think of us as really kind of like an extra tech person in the office to help with all of your KW tools. So the first part is definitely that questionnaire section. So if you obviously you've joined the office, you may have been set up by us, or obviously even if you're an existing agent, I always like to highlight on here that much like you guys were kind of hearing before, how everything's constantly changing, the same goes for all the technology. So I always like to say, even if you join the office and were onboarded, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, so much is consistently changing that it's always nice to have everything spot checked at the end of the day. So on here, I always say, if you fill out this existing agent questionnaire, it's really meant for us to go through and say, hey, as of March 31st, do I have the most up-to-date technology set up on here? So then we'll actually treat you like a brand new agent joining on to get everything fully up and running and operational. Or if you're just purely looking to have command set up, we can actually go through and make sure that all of your command tools are up and running as well. Because I'm sure most of y'all have probably seen on here, and for some reason it's not, there we go. All right, let me go ahead and put this inside. The chat section was hiding behind another window on here, so I apologize about that. All right, so from what we have seen is so much is consistently changing that it's always nice just to really say, you know, hey, as of today, am I utilizing everything properly? Am I utilizing everything to the best of my ability? Now, beyond just kind of obviously all of our setup, we also have live webinars too that happen every Monday through Friday right at 12 p.m. Central Time. So literally in about 12 minutes, you're actually going to see that very soon on here. All right, so in this case, we'll have a bunch of different classes that are accessible for you to use. And you can even download our training calendar to see everything that we're going to cover, whether you want to learn more about DocuSign, whether you want to learn more about the IDX sites, marketing, Facebook ads, database management, smart plans, opportunities, where is everything located? The list is really, you know, basically anything and everything on here. All right, so I definitely want to make sure you all know all those items that are accessible for you. And what I always like to say about our training section on here is the way that we do our classes is it's kind of like the old Bob Ross show, if you guys remember that show from back in the day, where basically he's painting and you're painting along with him. I saw a couple people nod their heads, so I'm going to take that as yes. So in this case, it's basically the same thing on here where we're basically screen sharing, and then it's going to allow you to actually go through and do everything at the same time with us too. So not only do we want you to kind of learn how to do everything, but we want you to do it with us as well. Then, of course, we have all of our recorded training classes. So if you can't make it to the live class, or if you want to come back at any time, I mean, please feel free to utilize these. They're all alphabetically organized, so you can access them immediately, but then also chronologically organized too, so you can come back on and see the most recent class immediately. And we'll always put the date inside our titles. That way, if we had a campaigns class today, for instance, then it may say something like campaigns 101-3/31. So I want to make sure that you have access to all the most recent courses immediately to come back and watch 24/7. Now, beyond that, this is the one thing I always like to point out on here. And I realized I just sent this out to the panelists only. So let me adjust this real quick so I can send this out to everybody on here. All right, so we also happen to have all of our different tools accessible for you. So I'm putting in all direct links that'll help y'all out on everything, including a link on how to access the live webinars and even all of our live training. And we also happen to have all of our support accessible for you too. So this is the one thing, and it's so funny, Robbie, you just asked a question on this, and this is the one item I was actually going to cover as well next. This is without a doubt the #1 item I always suggest taking advantage of, and I think this will help out tremendously for all agents. So I'm sorry I just spammed the entire chat section with a bunch of information on there, but that might help out. So our support section on here is the one thing that I always say agents definitely don't take as much advantage of, and they really should, because this is meant for everyone. So these are actually free items that we'll do for you on your behalf that you don't have to worry about at all. So that's the best part about it. So beyond just kind of setting everything up and training and helping to troubleshoot, we actually have free items that typically a marketing or admin person would actually do. So in this case, if you beyond just getting command set up, if you need your DocuSign set up, if you want help setting up a smart plan, if you need help pi syncing your account over, we can do all these items for you. And these are just clickable buttons on here where you can fill out information and we'll be able to go through and update everything possible. And without a doubt, so Robbie, this kind of goes with your question on here. The #1 item we're always contacted about is easily importing databases. So if you happen to have your database on your phone, if it's in another CRM, if it's on your email, we can help to reformat and import that immediately for you so you can start to utilize that with all the different command tools. Because having your database in the back end is going to be one of the biggest items you can really utilize at the end of the day. All right,
Can I jump in one quick second?
Yeah, of course.
I had you guys do that for me, import the database. I had over 3,500 contacts just in my phone. I got that over to you guys and it was seamless and perfect. Y'all did a phenomenal job for me and saved me God knows how much work. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's so funny. I always, I used to joke around that saying ever since Command launched, I've seen more databases than I think I have in my entire life, but I actually don't think it's a joke anymore. I think it's actually just real now. So feel free to send that over. We can help with everything, because especially getting that database in, that's going to help with your opportunities. It's going to help with your smart plans. It's going to help with your designs. It's going to make your life so much easier. And that's one of the biggest things you can do right away. Now, beyond that, we have Killer Cloud services over all the different Killer Cloud tools, whether it's just getting your profile completed, setting up a Facebook pixel, If you want to make sure your open house is pushing out to all the different platforms, or if you're leaving a team and branching out on your own, we can make sure everything's reverted. We can update your bio, your email, your headshot, your social media info. If you're creating a team, we can update that as well on here too. So all these items are accessible for you. We even have KDB email services as well, and even website services to make your life a little bit simpler on here. So if you want to spruce up your IDX site beyond just kind of the basics of having, hey, in this case, we're going to, just have the contact form, the about page, and the company page. We can add in an app download page. We can forward your domain over. We can feature your listings. We can set up Google Analytics, add in your testimonials for you. So we can definitely take it beyond the basics to help out immediately on there. All right, and then there are even compliance items on here too to make sure that you are all set up with the TREC compliance. We can make sure your IABS and CPN forms are displaying everywhere possible on there. All right, so this is all accessible for you. And then of course, the final item we do have accessible is obviously all of our templates. So feel free to check out our template section on here too, and you'll have access to everything possible. So I'll put that inside our chat section on here so you can update that at any time. And they're all through Google Slides, so you can go through and access this as long as you have, as long as you have a Gmail or a KDB.com email, you can access any of our templates on here. All right, and then of course, feel free to reach out to us. I put our contact information inside the chat section too. If you have any issues, questions, or concerns on any of the KDB technology, that's what we're here for. So really just think of us as another member of the staff to help out with all of your KDB technology and utilize us as much as possible on there.
Appreciate it, Scott. Thanks a lot, man. You're a
Awesome. Good
tremendous
stuff.
partner. We truly appreciate everything you do. Go ahead, Chad.
No, good stuff. Thanks, Scott. We forget to push it and put it out there. So thanks for the reminder.
That's
yeah.
honesty at its finest right there. But yeah, we'll definitely do a better job of that for sure. Appreciate you jumping on, bud. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, let's move over to Dale real quick because he's going to give a few nuggets on what we talked about today from a lender's perspective.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So this is a little bit to touch on what we discussed last week in regards to working with buyers and different loan types. So, a lot of buyers right now are suffering. They need help with closing costs. They need help with down payment and things like that. And so Nimesh and myself spoke a little bit today about if you as a agent representing a buyer that needs down payment assistance, not to be discriminatory, but it is kind of a red flag. A person with down payment assistance may have lower credit scores. They don't have funds for a down payment in most cases. In this current market condition, if people are having to offer more for the asking price to get their offer to even be considered, people looking for these type of loans don't have the funds to get in the game. And it's unfortunate. It's just kind of a hard truth right now. So working in this environment, we're seeing that it may take months to get an offer accepted for people that are looking to do FHA or down payment loans. What I would do as a guide, as a fiduciary, is tell the people, stay home, cook meals at home, save your money, start putting money in the bank so you're going to have funds to put towards a transaction. Or the other great option, down payment assistance, is not technically the way to go. It might be FHA. See if there's a potential for a gift from a family member. The sellers really don't care where the money comes from as long as we present an offer that says we've got the money to come to closing and we can close this transaction. So a gift is a great option. It can come from a family member. It can even come from an employer. It's a little bit more difficult to do that, but we want you guys, if you're working with buyers, to know that they're going to ultimately get to the finish line and be able to get into this house. And I've been looking at open houses lately and walking into some of these, and it's just amazing what people are offering for houses above asking price. And so obviously we know that FHA and the down payment assistance allow for people to get gifts, potential seller contributions, but in this environment, you're not seeing, in some cases, you're not seeing the sellers paying for anything. No repairs, no closing costs, no title policy, no home warranty. So know what you're up against real quickly. when you think that you've got someone live on the line, we need that conversation from you as the agents prior to them going to a lender to determine what type of financing were you considering being done. So it's just a little tidbit for you guys to think about when you're out there working with some of these buyers.
Appreciate it. Good stuff, Dale. Thanks a lot. All
You're
right, Melissa.
welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, Melissa, take it away from a title perspective, dear.
Hi, guys. So I always come in with full force. Hi, guys. So like Chad was talking about lack of inventory. So let's talk about multiple offers on the same property. You either love those words or hate those words, right? So, and we've talked about the Palm Agent app that we have on our phone. You can also do it on your desktop, and I'll put the link to Palm Agent. It's celebrityagentapp.com. So in there is a tool that says calculators. You'll hit calculators, then you go to multiple offers. In there, you first of all put like the address, you can put the seller's name, you put a bunch of stuff, you put their loan balance. So you know where to compare the offers, like how much they're going to get at closing, right? So you want to put their loan balance, you put their property taxes, like the percentage. You'll put broker fees, stuff like that. There's a bunch of different factors that go into like, what are you going to net? What are the sellers going to net? So even at the closing date, you guys know, you push a closing out date out 15 days, that could change the seller's bottom number, right? So once you get all there, you put in like the offer one, this is their down payment, this is their earnest money, this is their closing date. Is there a contingency? It'll say on the bottom, you can put yes, there's so you're doing all this and you're laying all this out for your sellers. Why? Because you're gonna print out a really cool thing from my app, celebrityagentapp.com. And it says, so offer one here, I know you guys can't see, but anyways, offer one, the sales price, the closing date, prorated taxes owed, and those change. I just changed the closing date, so the prorated taxes changed. And then net to close on offer one, net to close on offer two, and you can personalize this. You can put your face, your information. How professional do you guys look showing up with this? Not only this, it breaks it down into offer number one, offer number two, and you can brand yourself and you can show up and you can put it in a little packet and present it, and you look like the best real estate agent in town. So that's my tidbit for the day. I'm going to put the app link in the chat, and that's it. Come and see me if you need. I'm downstairs. And hi, Javon. Javon thinks I'm doing a good job.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Melissa. Thanks. That's some good stuff. Yeah, that's a pretty awesome multi-offer chart there that you can do. Yeah, sounds great. All right, Yi, get everybody to sign up for Reliant.
Hello, everybody. I just texted my information on the chat. Okay, so we still have the context to the end of the April. The winner will get $150. Last week, Brandy Zimo sent me a customer who's original, just only need a temporary service, okay, for one of her rental house, okay. Then she turned one business into two, and then she refer her to change her house to the permanent one too. So she's getting a referral for that one. So Namesh, you sent me a referral last week too, right? Can you tell the team how easy is that?
Yeah, it was simple. I just texted the information to Yi, and all I got back later was, thanks, it's done. Everything else was taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah, this is only one text message. It's easy.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Yi. Appreciate it. All right, guys, one important thing that I definitely want to share here before we let you all go. I know we're pushing up against the time, but we have something pretty awesome coming up. Okay. You should be able to see it right here. We're going to have a seminar, I guess you can say, or a training class on how to successfully hire a team, right? And check out these panelists. They're pretty top notch. It's next Tuesday, April 6th from 2 to 3. We realize how important this is. So it is available in person for a limited number, and it's also going to be available on Zoom. Okay. the people speak for them. The panelists speak for themselves. If you're looking for the next, the next PJ, you're going to want to chime in right here. Come in and take a look. So if you're at that stage right now where you're ready to hire, you definitely don't want to miss this, guys. Okay. And of course, for those of you that want to chime in, check to see, what it's all about to aspire for the future. Definitely take it in. Chad, a couple of seconds on this.
It'll just be a great panel, right? It's going to hear how they think and the process they go into, right? Leverage is a magical tool, and then it's really not magic. It's a process to go through, and it's really not an easy tool. So this panel will also share all their failures and mistake to shorten your learning curve.
And speaking of leverage and building a team, one way to leverage is with listings. And so if you find that you are not quite yet at the point of building a team, but you desire to, one way to do that is to increase your listings, the inventory itself. So 66-day challenge is still gearing up to get started April 6th on that same day. Information will be going out for people who have already signed up for just a quick meet and greet and divvy you up into your groups and let you know what the whole 66-day challenge thing will be all about. Please sign up, send me your information. For those of you who've already sent it, thank you so much. Be on the lookout for a quick email with an invite to a Zoom meeting.
Awesome, Verna, thanks. All right, so to recap, if you're going to then attend this in person, you should have got an email and it's in the Facebook group, and click on the Eventbrite link to sign up for in person. And if you're going to utilize this virtually, if you're going to attend this virtually on Zoom, the Zoom link is already there. You're going to click on it at the event date next Tuesday, April 6th from 2 to 3. Okay. And if you're going to take advantage of the 66-day listing challenge that Verna's putting together, make sure you reach out to Verna. All right, guys. Again, thank you to the panelists. Appreciate it. PJ and Robbie and the rest of you for joining us. It was awesome. It was very educational. Remember, it all boils down to focus on the plan, not the problem. Right. All right. Enjoy you guys' day. Thank you all for joining us.
All right.